Hey everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Jurassic World Cinematics. Before we begin today's episode, I would like to ask you to please also take a look at my gaming review YouTube channel called Konoha Reviews. You can find the link to that channel in the description down below. I do reviews of both old and new games, and you can even request some reviews, including of course, dinosaur games. So please take a look at my channel Konoha Reviews, and if you like what you see, then please subscribe, as it helps me out a lot. Thanks, and enjoy the rest of the episode. The latest addition to the Jurassic Park was the Edmontosaurus pack. Their unique color pattern and resemblance of a mask made it to where they were labeled as the Ninja Turtles of the dinosaurs. A very large pen had been secured for this group of gentle giants. But despite being gentle, their size and weight, and how jittery they were, made them still a dinosaur to watch out for, since one of the Ranger vehicles was heavily damaged when one trampled over it. The Rangers in question would have some broken bones, but none were injured too severely. The other Rangers managed to sedate all of the remaining dinosaurs so that transport could begin. By now, the distance that the transport helicopters needed to traverse was pretty far, with the park ever stretching further and further. The pen that was saved for the Edmontosaurus was so large and wide that easily another species of dinosaur could live here as well. The Edmontosaurus were herd grazers and could commonly be found amongst other parasaurs and the likes. The scientists weren't sure yet what other dinosaur they would add to this pen and would take their time on making a decision. But the Edmontosaurus seemed to love all the open space to walk around and explore. They seemed very much at ease, letting their calm personality shine as the pathway for visitors would swing around the pen in a U-shape. And so the park enjoyed their newest addition. Overall, the Edmontosaurus weren't anything too special, though the unique color scheme did give them some attention. But then it was time for another multi-star attraction. And despite already having a lot of different dinosaurs in the park, there were still many options left. The scientists and money holders were divided into two camps. Those that wished to implement hybrid dinosaurs, and those who did not. The winner in this debate was the team that wanted entirely new dinosaurs to be introduced to the park rather than artificially spliced hybrids. Three new potential dinosaurs were put on the table. The easiest to introduce first was the Agathomus. This stout, bulletproof dinosaur on first glance might seem like your typical Triceratops related brethren, but they had some very unique features. First and foremost, the long nose horn was very unique, because many of those dinosaurs with a similar build had a tinier nose horn. There were still exceptions, but in many cases the brow horns were the larger ones, and with the Agathomus, it was reversed. Its brow horns were very, very tiny. Their V-shaped crown was also used for ramming rather than the horns themselves. Its armored back made it to where predators had difficulty wounding the animal. The Agathomus was built like a tank, and though it wasn't poisonous in any way, its dark contrasted color pattern could mean to stay away for potential carnivores or otherwise, they would be in a world of hurt. Four of these dinosaurs would be added to the park. They all had a different color, but some were quite similar, almost being the same but in a slightly less bright variant. During the sedation this time, the rangers took some more precautions. That was definitely deserving too, because a few started running frantically around, and that deadly nose horn could do some horrible things to the vehicles and the rangers inside them. But all four were sedated and then transported to the new pen. Their pen would be placed in between the Allosaurus and Edmontosaurus zones. It would be a narrow but pretty stretched out area that would cater to the needs of these tanky herbivores. Once they arrived, they actually seemingly took the whole sedation and transportation protocol very well, all things considered. In the past, it occurred more often than not that these type of herd animals would panic at the sight of their new home, but these were not. Maybe the self-sustaining knowledge that they were such a difficult nut to crack by predators made it to where they were calmer than other dinosaurs from their family. And so the Agathomas were initiated into the park, and everything seemed great. That meant that it was now time to add another one of those three new dinosaurs, and this time it would be a carnivore. It was time to have the park be introduced to the Utahraptor. This was a classic predator, often overlooked in pop culture and movies by its less threatening sisters in the form of the Velociraptor and the Deinonychus. The first and foremost thing that caught one's eyes was its beautiful colors. There were so many colors complementing each other, making it almost look like a tropical gecko. But after one's gaze fades on looking to its aesthetics, one realizes something else. Both Deinonychus and Velociraptor are very social creatures and can often be seen communicating with each other. But none did this as fast as the Utahraptors did. The moment there were only two of them in the holding pen, they already communicated with each other. It was almost as if they knew each other for years. And the more were added, the bigger the circle of communication became. It was very well possible that these dinosaurs were currently the most intelligent ones in the park. And so the rangers were advised to use extreme caution once more, but the Utahraptors did not seem to show any aggressive behavior. There definitely still was communication between them once the jeeps entered the holding cell, but none showcased an aggressive or agitated stance. They were then finally moved to the pen, now filling up the leftover space on the other side between the Allosaurus and the Edmontosaurus zone. Despite now having carnivores closer in their range, the other dinosaurs like the Edmontosaurus and the Agathomas did not show any signs of fear or stress. The Utahraptors themselves were also very calm, most having a large appetite from being sedated and moved. Their behavior followed the same pattern as most of the dinosaurs showcased, and thus it did not have any of the scientists worried. But the constant communicating continued, and even in between drinking and eating.